Good morning everybody, welcome in the lecture series of discrete structure and theory of logic. This time we will study about the relations on the set. Earlier I have discussed about the set theory. In set theory we have discussed various operations on the set and the type of the sets, power set and lot of things about the set. Now after set we will discuss about the relations on the set. What is the relation? Means how the relationship is established between the set. So this is the this relationship is not different than the relationship between the human being. As we are the human being, we have the relationship between each other. Means we can think of each other like a set. As we have the relationship between each other, the same relationship can be established between the set. But this relationship will be established on the basis of numbers, on the basis of some mathematical relation. So let us see about the set theory. Introduction. Relationship between the elements of the set are represented using the structure called relation. Relation between the program and its variable, the pair of cities linked by the airline flight in the network, or as I told, the relationship between the human being. So it is nothing but the relationship between the sets. The most direct way to express the relationship between the element of two set is the ordered pair. Ordered pair is nothing but the pairing of two elements in a bracket, and it will follow some order. Ordering means if I am writing A related to B, then I will take the element of A as the first and the element of B next to the A. Now the definition, let A be the sets a binary relation from A to B is a subset of R of A cross B. Means A comma B, A is belongs to small a and B belongs to small b. Example, let A be the set of students and B be the set of courses. So how the set of student and set of courses related, one example is given. In this example we can see that Johnson is enrolled only by CSE 0 to 0 and Johan is enrolled by two courses, that is CSE 0 to 0 and CSE 2 1. So whenever I will establish the relationship between the student and the course, the relationship is like this: Jensen CSE 0 to 0, Johan CSE 2 0, John CSE 21 belongs to relation. So in this way we can establish the relation. So here no mathematical conditioning is given, but in the later example we can see that some mathematical conditioning will be given on between the numbers. On the basis of that mathematical conditioning, the elements will be related to the each other. Next, in the next example, let A be the students in the CS major. So these are the students Alice, Bob, Claire and Dan. Let B be the set of courses and the department offers. The courses are this one, and I want to relate these courses similar. This example is similar to the previous one. Next, representing relation. So there are number of ways of representing the relation. We can represent the relation by using some mathematical notations, like if I want to establish the relation between two numbers A and B. Let's say I want to relationship between the two numbers A and B. So one way of showing this relation is like I can show in the ordered pair form, A related to B. A related to B is A comma 1, similarly A comma 2, or B comma 1, B comma 2, C comma 1, C comma 2. So this is the example. It is not necessary that all element will be related to all. So according to our requirement, according to the condition, the elements will be related in the relationship. For example, one more example is given here. We can see that the relation R is a subset of A cross B. A cross B is nothing but the all possible combination of set A and set B. So that relation will be the subset of A cross B. Here in the set we can see that 0 1 2 is there. In the right set here we can see that AB is there. So in this 0 is related to A, 0 is related to B, 1 is related to A and 2 is related to B. So this is the relation. So this is nothing but the subset of A cross B. Here we can see 0 to A, 0 to B, 1 to A, 1 to B and 2 to A and 2 to B. The functions as a relation. However, class, we heard about the function are also very important part for mathematics also and for computer science also. Where, in computer science, everywhere whenever you will talk about the set theory, the functions will come into the picture, but there is a difference between the function and relation. We can say that every function is a relation, but every relation is a function, but every function cannot be the relation. Okay, example. For example, let's say I am drawing the Venn diagram. In this Venn diagram we have two elements, 1 and 2, and here we have three elements A, B, C. So if I am relating 1 to A, 1 to B and 2 to C, then this is the example of relation. It is not a function, it cannot be a function. In the definition of function, that this one should be uniquely related to one element of the second set. It means either it is not there or the second one is not there. For example, 1, 2 and I have elements A, B and C. So for being a definition, being a function, it should be like this. Means 1 should be related to A and 2 should be related to B. Or one more example I can give, 1 and 2, A and B, let's say C is also there, 1 is related to A and 2 is also related to A. It can be possible. This is also the function. So this is function, but this is not the function. So in the function we can say that the function f from set A to set B assigns a unique element of B to each element of A. So assign a unique element of B to each element of A. Means this one can be uniquely assigned to the A, uniquely assigned to A, B or C, but the image of 1 cannot be 2 or 3 in the second set. Conversely, if R is a relation from A to B such that every element in A is first element of exactly one ordered pair of R, then function can be defined with R as its graph. This is done by assigning to elements of A belongs to A the unique elements of B belongs to B such that A comma B belongs to R. Relation on the set, as I already given, relation is nothing but the subset of the Cartesian product of A and B, but whenever we are working on the same set, now we don't have the two different set, we have only a single set, and I want to find the relation of that particular set to the same set itself. So for finding the relationship between these two same sets, the idea will be relation on A will be, if A have 1 2 3 4, this 1 is related to 1, it will be the, it can be the chance 1 can be related to 2, 1 can be related to 3, or we can say that 2 can be related to 3, 2 can be related to 4 and 2 can be related to any one. So this is the example of relation on set A. It is nothing but the similar relation as we discussed earlier, but this is the relationship between the elements of same set. Earlier we have discussed about the relationship between the elements of different set, but it is the relationship on the same set. That's why it is called as the relation on set. So here in this example, as an example is given, two elements A and B are related on set A whenever A is less than equal to B. So if I want to establish a relationship between, I want to solve this question. So the answer of this question will be 1 can be related to 2, because I know that 1 is less than 2. 1 can be related to 3, 1 can be related to 4, similarly 2 can be related to 3, but if I will write 2 can be related to 1, it will be the wrong one. It means in the answer of this, the all elements are coming in which the left element is smaller than the right element. Even equality relationship will also not be possible. It means the left element should be smaller than the right element. Next, relation on a set. Similarly, the same example as I given earlier, 1 is related to 2, 1 is related to 3, 1 to 4. Next, 2 to 3 and 2 to 4, then 3 to 4. So here some matrix form is given. In this matrix form, the cross is showing that these two elements are related. Here also. So this cross is showing that these elements are actually related. That's why the cross is being done. And here at the blank spaces showing that there is no relationship between these particular elements. Let A be the set 1, 2, 3, 4, which ordered pair are in the relation A, B such that A divides B. So here in the example we can see that this can be the answer, because 1 divides 1, 1 divides 2, 1 divides 3, 1 divides 4. What is the meaning of divides here? Divides means whenever I will divide some elements by some other element, the remainder should be 0. So that's why we are saying that the divisibility relationship. So 1 can divide 2, 1 can divide 3, 1 can divide 4. But next 2, 2 is there, but if I want to add 2, 1, is it possible? 2, 1. 2, 1 cannot be the part of the answer, because 2 cannot divide 1, but because if I will divide 2 by 1, then answer will be 0.5. So that's why this cannot be the part of the answer. 2 can divide 4, 2 can divide 3, 3 can divide 3, and 3 can divide 4. So that's why the answer of this particular question is this. Now another example, how many relations are there on a set with n elements? If a set is having the n elements, then the Cartesian product of A and A will contain n square elements. And the total number of relation on this Cartesian product means relation is what? Relation is nothing but the subset of the Cartesian product. If I will collect all possible subsets of the Cartesian product, then as we already know, done in the previous class about the power set. Power set is what? Power set is nothing but the collection of all subset of any set. Similarly, the relation is collection of all subset of the A cross B. So A cross B is containing n square elements, then the collection of all subset will be the 2 to the power n square. So that's why this will be the answer. It means the number of relations on set with n elements will be the 2 to the power n square. So here example is given, if there are 3 elements in a set, then total number of elements on a set will be the 2 to the power 3 to the power 3, that is 2 to the power 9. It means 512 relations on set A, B, C. Here we have 3 elements in the set. Next example. Now the properties of the relationship, these are very important property, not only from this particular mathematics subject point of view, but from other point of view also. These properties are very important. For example, reflexive For example, if I will talk about the equivalence relationship. In number of research paper we have seen about the equivalence relationship is given, or some partial ordered relationship is given. So equivalence relation, partial ordered relationship are all are using these properties only. So we should know well about these properties. The first property is the reflexive property, second is irreflexive, third is symmetric, next asymmetric, antisymmetric and transitive. However, they are looking bit similar, but actually there is difference between each and every property, and we should know about these differences. For example, if I will talk about the reflexive property, in some relation on an element is always related to itself. Let R be a relation on set of all people containing elements x comma y, where x and y have same mother and same father. The element x related to x for every person. It means the relation is reflexive whenever small a belongs to small a related to small a in some set. So definition, our relation R on set A is called reflexive if A comma A belongs to R for every element A belongs to A. For example, in set A we have the elements like 1, 2 and 3. The relation R on set A is said to be reflexive whenever we have the ordered pair like this. 1 comma 1 should be there, 2 comma 2 should be there and 3 comma 3 should be there. Means every pair should be related to itself, every element should be related to itself, then only this particular relation should be reflexive. So here it is not the case that only this element is allowed. If other than this also you have some elements like 1 comma 3, 2 comma 4 or 2 comma 1, something like this, then also it is a reflexive relation just because of these three. It means these three are compulsory elements of the set. Reflexivity, I already told you, in the reflexivity equality relationship is must. These are the example of reflexivity. So 1 comma 1, here they are checking whether it is a reflexive or not, because it is not reflexive because 2 comma 2 is missing in this. Sorry, 2 comma 2 is missing, that's why it is not a reflexive relation. What about the second one? Is the second one will be the perfectly reflexive, because in the set we have 1 2 3 4 and the elements are having the ordered pair 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4. So that's why it is a reflexive relationship. However, it seems bit extra element and extraneous elements is allowed, is always allowed in the reflexivity relationship. So this is not a reflexivity because 4 comma 4 is missing in this, that's why it is not a reflexive relationship. There are some more example whether these relations are reflexive or not. So these questions are left for the students. These are the solutions. One more example. Now I'll give you the example on the directed graph of reflexive relationship. So any relation can be shown by the directed graph also. So that directed graph can be reflexive, cannot be reflexive, it can be decided just by seeing the graph only. So whenever we are establishing some graph of the relationship, and in this graph I will be able to check whether there is a self loop for every node is existing or not. If self loop is existing, then we can say that it is a reflexive relationship. The answer is very easy. Here in the graph we can see that in the R1 is a reflexive relation because for everyone self loop is there. For everyone we have self loop, that's why it is a reflexive. But the R2 is not reflexive. Why so? For 1 there we have self loop, for 2 we have self loop, for 3 we have self loop, but for 4 we don't have self loop. That's why it is not a reflexive relation. So again, the directed graph, R3 is reflexive because self loop is existing for all. R4 is not reflexive because self loop is not existing for 1 and 4. So again, this is the exercise for the students. Now the matrix representation of the relationship. Earlier we have seen the two type of representation. One was in the form of the set theory and other was in the form of directed graph. Now the third form is the matrix relationship. We can show in the form of matrix also. So here this representation is very important because whenever we will study about the data structure. In the data structures, the elements, the two nodes are connected by edge or not. This can also be done by the matrix. So that matrix is called actually the adjacency matrix. So this matrix is same as the adjacency matrix. When if you know about this matrix, then it will be very easier for you to know about the adjacency matrix. So let us see what is this matrix, or how to establish the how to create a matrix for establishing the relationship between the elements. So here we can see that 1 1 is there, and it means it is showing that 1 comma 1 we have, 1 comma 1 we have, that's why this 1 is coming. 1 3, that's why for 1 3 1 is there. It means whenever two elements are related, then the entry will be 1. If two elements are not related, then entry will be 0. So as I told, the same concept is used in the adjacency matrix for representation of graph in the data structure. Okay, so here again we know that 2 comma 2 are related, so that's why 1 is there, and 3 comma 2 is also there, also related, that's why we have 1 here. Now and the last 3 comma 3, this one is just because of we should have the 3 comma 3 here. So in this way we can see that the elements are elements can be shown by the matrix also. Now irreflexive. The irreflexive is nothing but just the opposite definition of the reflexivity, and property is said to be the irreflexive if every element is not related to itself. Okay, means it is just reverse of reflexivity. In reflexivity, all relation should be there, all existence should be there, but for irreflexivity, the no element should be related to anyone. Means if any self loop is coming in the graph, then it cannot be the irreflexive. Or in the matrix we can see that for main diagonal, if any one is coming in the matrix, in this, if any single one will come in this, then it is not going to be the irreflexive. So for being a matrix to be irreflexive, the all elements should be 0. Means just by seeing the graph or the matrix of the relationship we can find whether it is a irreflexive or not. It means if we don't have the self loop for each and every node, then it is a reflexive. If there is existing a single for loop even, then it is not going to be the irreflexive relationship. Next, symmetricity. Symmetric, two elements A comma B are set, an element in the graph or an ordered pair or any relationship in the graph is said to be the symmetric if A comma B are there in the relation, then B comma A should also be there in the relationship. For example, here I have set A. Set A is having 1 comma 2 comma 3, and set B is having, let's suppose, A comma B, and I want to show the relation as the symmetric relationship. So symmetric relationship means relation R on set B is said to be symmetric if we have A comma B, then B comma A should also exist in the answer. Similarly, for this example, let's suppose a relation R is said to be symmetric if we have 2 comma 3, then 3 comma 2 should also exist in the answer. So that's why this is called a symmetric relationship. A relation the same definition, the relation is symmetric if for every A comma B belongs to R, then B comma A should also belongs to R. So in the previous example, if I want to show it by the matrix, it can be easily identified just by seeing the matrix whether a relation is symmetric or not. Whenever A is related to B, then B should also related to A. It means if I have entries in the matrix and these are the entries, let's suppose, and just by seeing I want to identify whether the relationship is symmetric or not, what I will do, I will just perform the transformation steps. I will just transform this matrix. If the transform A and A transform, if the name of this matrix A and A transform matrix are equal, then this is called as the symmetric matrix. It means if I have entry 1 here, the 1 should also be here. If I have entry 1 here, then 1 should also be here. Then also it will be then only it will be a symmetric relationship. Okay. If I will talk about the reflexive relationship, so we can say that every reflexive relation is a symmetric relation also. Antisymmetric is a special definition actually. Generally the students will not able to understand the idea of the antisymmetricity, that why is this symmetricity is come into the picture. The relation is antisymmetric if for every element A comma B belongs to R, then B comma A should also belongs to R if and only if A is equal to B. It means in general term, if I want to speak, we can say that in a relation R on set A, if A comma B is related and B comma A is also related, then we can say that this is possible only if A and A equal to B. Here, because we already know that A is not equal to B, that's why it is not a antisymmetric relationship. If A is related to B and B is related to A, then A should be equal to B. If this is the conditioning, then it will become a antisymmetric relation. Next, a relation is antisymmetric if for element A related to B, then B related to A does not belongs to R. Antisymmetric is the opposite of the symmetricity. It means if any relationship symmetricity is existing, then we can say that it cannot be antisymmetric. Why so? Because A is related to B and B is related to A, but here we can see that A is not equal to B. That's why it is not antisymmetric. So it means to being a relationship to be antisymmetric, conditioning is that there should not be the symmetricity and the reflexivity is allowed in this. If reflexivity is there, then also the elements are the antisymmetric elements. These are the examples. In these examples, which of these relations are symmetric and which are antisymmetric? So let us solve these examples. In the first example, we can see that 1 comma 2 is there, 2 comma 1 is there. Similarly 3 comma 4 is there, but 4 comma 3 is not there. So it is neither symmetric nor antisymmetric. Why so? Because 3 comma 4 is there, so it means 4 comma 3 should also be there, so it is not existing. So that's why it is not symmetric. What about the antisymmetricity? In antisymmetricity, we already told that whenever symmetricity is existing somewhere, then it is not going to be the antisymmetric. So here we can see that by this symmetricity is existing, that's why it is not a antisymmetric relationship. Okay. Next, in the R2 relation, 1 comma 1 is there, so far it is okay. 1 comma 2 is there, then 2 comma 1 is also there. It means it is a symmetric relationship. but it is not antisymmetric. Antisymmetric नहीं है ये, it is not antisymmetric because we already know that whenever symmetricity is existing it cannot be the antisymmetric. Third relation R3. R3 is saying 1 1 is there, 1 2 is there, 1 4, 1 2 is there, 2 1 is also here. Okay, 1 4 is here, 2 4 1 is also here. 2 comma 2, 3 comma 3 is okay, 4 comma 4 is okay. 3 comma 4 we have. Do we have 4 comma 3 in this? No, we don't have 4 comma 3. That's why symmetricity fail here. So in this relationship symmetricity is failing. I'm talking about the R5. Symmetricity is failing in this. What about the anti-symmetricity? As I already told, if as soon as you will find some symmetricity somewhere, then it is it is not going to be the anti-symmetric. So in this we can see that in this we can see that in this we can see that 1 comma 1 we have, okay, 1 comma 2 we have, 1 comma 3 we have, 1 comma 4 we have, but I don't have 2 comma 1. If 2 comma 1 is not there, it means it is not symmetric. 3 comma 1 is also not existing, it is not that's why it is also not a symmetric. 1 comma 4 is existing, but 4 comma 1 is not existing, not symmetric. But it is not symmetric just because of this also. It is symmetric just because of this also. So we can say it is not symmetric actually. Okay, it is not a symmetric relationship. What about the anti-symmetricity? If symmetricity is not existing anywhere, then it is a anti-symmetric relationship. It means this particular example is anti-symmetric. Okay, what about the R4? R4 we can see 2 comma 1 is here, okay, 3 comma 1 is also good, 3 comma 2 we have, 2 comma 3 we don't have, 4 comma 1 we have, but 1 comma 4 we don't have. Similarly 4 2 we have, 2 4 we don't have, 4 3 we have, and 3 4 we have. That's why we can say that it is not symmetric, but it is a anti-symmetric relationship. Symmetric, it is not symmetric. What about the last one? Last one 3 comma 4. Yeah, last one is a very interesting example. R6. R6 we can say that 3 comma 4 is here, but 4 comma is not, 4 comma 3 we don't have. That's why it is not symmetric. If it is not symmetric, there is a chance to be a anti-symmetricity. So anti-symmetricity is not failing anywhere. That's why this relationship is a anti-symmetric relationship. So these are the solutions. Again, the solution of the same exercise. This is also one exercise for students. One exercise for students. Directed graph of symmetric relationship. As I already told, for the symmetricity, when there is a forward edge, then back, if back edge is also existing, then we can say it as a symmetric relationship. Forward edge is existing, backward edge is existing, then it is a symmetric relationship. Here for this it is it is also symmetric. Why so? Because a comma a is related, b comma b is related, c comma c is related, d comma d is related. Because as per the definition of the symmetricity, we already know that if a comma b is existing, then b comma a should also exist. So if any relationship is reflexive, then also it is a symmetric relationship. Why so? Because if I will write a comma a 2 times in this way, a comma a, and let's say if I say it as b, sorry, if I say it as b, then we can say that a comma b is relating and b comma a is relating. That's why it is a symmetric relationship. So if we have some self loop between the elements and no failure of symmetricity, then also the graph will be the, or the relationship will be the symmetric relation. Here in the R3 we can see that R3 is not a symmetric relationship, because we know that 3 to 4 is existing, so 4 to 3 should also exist, but actually it is not existing, that's why it is not a symmetric relationship. Similarly, in the R4 is also not symmetric. Why so? 4 to 3 edge is there, but 3 to 4 edge we don't have, that's why it is not symmetric. So these are some examples of symmetricity. So matrix representation of symmetric relation, as I already told, for identifying whether a particular matrix is symmetric or not, we can say just by seeing the matrix we can say that this particular matrix is a symmetric matrix or not. If the if the transform of the matrix, transformation steps I will apply on the matrix, and after transformation the matrix will be same, A and A transform will be same, then we can say that the matrix is a symmetric matrix and the relation is a symmetric relationship. So here we can see that if I will transform this particular matrix, then the matrix will be same, so that's why it is a symmetric relation. This exercise is left as exercise for a student. Now the transitive relationship, transitive is also very most important, as its name telling. Okay, this transitive relationship we will discuss in the next class. Thank you so much.